Hey guys, welcome. It is Monday night, and that means it must be time for
Let's talk about.
Let's Talk About. And tonight we've got a special guest who is just over there. We have got Sharyn Blackwell with us, and Sharyn is the assistant principal at a primary school not too far from us. So Sharyn, it's so awesome to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to hear. But before we get to that, so every Monday night we talk about stuff that's important. And tonight our topic is going back to school for teachers. And it doesn't get more important than that, does it?
No.
So our teachers go back.
Absolutely. I always say that school would be fantastic if it wasn't for the students.
Your students.
No, we need them.
Alrighty, let's roll the music. Here we go. A little bit of salt and pepper.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this. Come on, why not? People might misunderstand what we're trying to say, you know? It's not a lot of shit.
What do we think? Back to school for teachers.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Put that in, buddy. Let's talk about back to school for teachers. Let's talk about back to school for teachers.
Back to school for teachers.
Back to school for teachers.
Back to school for teachers. Whoa.
And the Sung little kids, they just started today. I saw lots of little kinders who started today. So around the countryside, I think in Western Australia, some kids only went back today.
Yeah.
So,
But teachers have been back for a while, haven't they, Sharyn?
Yes, we went back last Tuesday.
Absolutely, getting sorted out. So here's the plan for tonight. What I thought we could do is we'll have a little oil off or a little Young Living product off. So I know that you've got a bunch of products that you think are awesome for teachers going back to school.
Yes.
I have my own particular stash just down here.
did you mention that you're a teacher?
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know. As well as being incredibly handsome and good looking and talented, I'm also working as a relief teacher sometimes. So,
Multi-skilled.
well, I've yet to have the call up, so I'm worried that they don't want me. Yeah.
Oh, can you teach primary? We need some more casuals.
I would love to teach primary. Anyway, so I have my own stash of stuff that I take along to school and I find very helpful. So, but before we get to that, you've actually been using Young Living products and all kinds of oily stuff in your school for a while, haven't you? So,
yes.
Do you want to tell us a bit about
2018, we trialled a wellbeing program in our school, and we trialled essential oils in the classroom. So 2 classrooms had essential oils, and they were being used strictly for just for moods. So we got permission by the parents to have them in the classrooms, and we noticed a huge difference on the behaviour and just the attention span of students in the classroom. And so last year we rolled it out into all our classrooms. So we have 9 classes, and 9 classes have diffusers. The front office has diffusers, my office has diffusers, the staff room has diffusers. Anywhere we can put a diffuser, there is a diffuser going in our school.
Wow. And so I'm picturing your school as like a Buddhist monastery where everyone's totally zenned out.
No, we're not. It's not too strong. They're quite used to it now, but the kids really, really like the smells that are in the rooms, and they will go asking for them. So I have a stash in my office of oils when they do run low, but they also come and get my favourite oils and put them in their rooms too. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the first question is, which diffusers have you got in your classrooms?
In our classroom, we have the Desert Mist, the new ones with all the different colours. We didn't get them to start with, but it's nice to change the mood. So if you want, depending on your theme, you might want green, you might want it just white, you might not want a colour to attract to it, but that's a really nice, practical, reliable one in the classroom, and it lasts the day. So
yeah, and that's important, because if the diffuser only lasts like 3 hours and people have to keep filling it up, it's an issue.
Yeah.
So
The other one, sorry, Jeremy.
No, that's good. We've got it. So Desert Mist, yep.
The other one I use in my office is the Owl diffuser. I love the sound of birds, and I get a lot of kids who are struggling in the classroom some days. So I have my owl going every day, and I have music or the birds in the background, and they come in and they just find it really soothing and settling. And we just have conversations and talk, but they find this really, really settling to them. And that if it's not on, they'll actually go and get the water and turn it on. So
amazing. Yeah.
And it's not just kids who find the owl diffuser relaxing.
No. I've got quite a few teachers that will come in and sit in my office and listen to my owl. So yes, they like it. They really, really like it. And we do change the different sounds, but I think the birds are really nice. And some days they don't even know the birds are in there, and they go, gee, the birds are noisy outside, miss, and then they work out that the owl's making the noise. So yeah.
And I guess my second question is, what oils are you using in the classroom? So what are you diffusing?
In the classroom, we mainly use our lavender. Only that came with the starter kit, and that was the one we trialled for concentration and just for calming. But I also really like in the classroom to keep them happy is orange. We have a couple of multi-category classes, and in those classes we use stress away and peace and calming.
Awesome.
So, and these are the two I often have going in my office too. So peace and calming they really, really like, but because it's a little bit pricey, it's usually only in my office. But stress away we use in the classrooms all the time.
That's amazing.
So they're basically the ones we use for their behaviour. In the afternoons after school, we can put purification on just to clean the rooms in the afternoons, especially in winter time. And I also like to use Raven in the winter. I do in the school holidays and weekends put thieves in my storeroom, especially just to let it do its job.
Yeah,
because they're very old buildings.
Yeah.
If you get thrift. Yeah.
And so in terms of the results, so obviously you got great results from the trial because you implemented it for the rest of the year. So you got feedback from the teachers, and what were they saying?
They were happy with them. Well, everyone wanted to have, most 9 classroom teachers did. They all wanted them in the classroom for the following year, so that's why we bought more. They just found they could concentrate a lot more. It also helped with the odours that were going on in the classroom, because especially like today where it was so hot, it's nice to have a different smell happening in that room. And they just really noticed the difference. They had noticed the difference when they weren't using them, so that made it go, oh, okay, we'll go and pop it on. And our SLSOs will often come in and go, oh, they're away today, can I just borrow your oils and put them on the diffusers? So they know, and the kids know.
Well, and what a good testimony, isn't it? I mean, you can't argue with that when it works, and everyone knows it works. So that's awesome. Just on the purification thing, I used to have a class of year 10 girls who would come in after a class of another class, and they'd often walk in summer and they go, oh, what's that smell? What? And I just go, year 8.
Yes. Yeah, we've got some of our year 6 classrooms are a bit like that. So, yeah, the purification's really, really good for that.
No offence to year 8s who may
No.
So the other question I've got is, so you got the parents to sign off and give permission.
Yes.
What other things did you have to do to be able to do this?
I was just talking with the principal to get him to approve it and put it into, and just make sure that we were compliant. So where we have our oils stored, where we have things out of the way, so that, and it's not a toy for the kids to play with. They know not to touch it. And it's just to be sensible around them, because it is essential oils. So they're put away when they're not being used. And it was just mainly to get the parents' permission first. And, that was.
And have you had any problems? Like sometimes people say to me, oh, my school won't do it because there's a child with allergies. Like, have you found anything?
We did have some who were concerned with asthma, but we just said, let's trial it and see, and it actually, nothing happened there, so we sort of won them over with that. We're also more concerned with the other things that were happening in the school, which could have brought on allergies more, such as mould and insects and so.
Products.
So we actually ended up, which is one of my other things that I've picked, is my thieves. We use this in the classrooms to clean the desks now rather than the stuff that we are given by the cleaner. And our cleaner actually finds this cleans the desks a lot nicer, and they smell nicer, and they don't have a residual residue that's the other stuff the department gives us.
Yeah. And plus the cleaners not slowly killing themselves by using those products.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So do you have any other products on your list?
Yeah. Let's get down to the oils. Let's go one. So
this is more than top 10 then.
Okay.
In my staff room and in my classrooms, I put my thieves soap in all our toilets. So I just drop them in all our staff toilets, and in my classrooms I dilute them, so it goes a lot further than if I just gave them this one, because they'd use it in 5 minutes. But they really like it. They're used to the smell now, and they've got really nice clean hands, so that's really good. For me, as being a teacher looking at my stress levels, every morning I put Bala on. Every morning. So I can't use my roller. I gave it to Alicia when she left on yesterday. So I have my Bala, and that goes very close to my heart, or even on my wrists. And sometimes I put it on my teacher's aids when we're having a particularly fun day.
So let's just talk about that for a moment, because I honestly think, and it's not just because I'm a teacher, but I think teachers are often the unsung heroes in a lot of these situations, because it can be a super stressful job, right? Would you agree with that?
Definitely agree with that, because some days you don't know what you're walking into. So you have to be prepared to be calm all the time. And so you walk in, that helps you keep calm and be able to sometimes negotiate some pretty interesting behaviours between lots of people in the community. So it's not just kids, it's parents, it's community members, it's staff, it's lots of people. So, Vala's
one of the things I find about Vala, and I've talked about this in other places, but the difference between being reactive and being responsive in a situation. It's easy to react out of your emotions, especially when, like you can have students, or you can even have parents who are yelling at you and screaming at you and, insulting you. It can be really tough. So Bella is about...
And I do sometimes diffuse that too, because I can have them come into my office and just sit and breathe for a bit and just take it in, and then they're calmer and ready to talk, because you never talk to someone until they're ready for it, because it's just not going to go anywhere. So.
Okay, what else have you got for teachers?
My white Angelica.
So talk us through that, because how does it work for you?
I really use it for negative energy. So I'm a bit of an empath, and anybody who knows me knows I pick up on emotions really, really quickly. So I do it tenfold. So it sort of gets bigger and bigger. So some days I just need this, because there's a lot going on, and if things are going on in the school and in the community, I can walk into that and it actually physically drains me. So I use this a lot just to keep myself levelled, so that I can be the best assistant principal that my teachers, my kids and my community need. So that's why I love and I use it straight. I could bathe in it some days, but it
is so important, isn't it? Because you don't want to take that stuff home with you.
No.
That's what I found, is getting in the car. Sometimes, you just need to let that stuff go. I think that's the case, not just for teachers, but there's so
every
many
job.
Where
you can't tell home what's happened here and impacted on your family at home, because they don't know what you've been through, and it's not fair for them to have what's happened to you impact on their lives for no reason.
Absolutely. So dealing with that negative energy, that's an important opportunity. Okay, let me give you one of my favourites. Speaking of energy, energy is one that I always...
The label's very well used.
This one's been well used. I think that's, again, teaching, it's quite draining. I know people always go, but you only work 40 weeks of the year and you only work 6 hours a day or something. Far, far from the truth.
Yeah.
Whether it's, late night marking, whether it's early mornings, whether it's, middle of the day.
It's also just worrying about what's going on in little people's minds and how you're going to make their day nice for them the next day. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, there'd be nothing to be awake, sitting there worrying about 10 kids, thinking how you're going to make their day better so that they can have a good day. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I started using energy last week and I diffused it, and I really like the smell, but my sister thinks it's awful. But I used it when I was cleaning the house, and I cleaned the house in record time. So I think all teachers should use energy at the end of the year when we're exhausted and we have to pack up our rooms and move them.
And just another one which goes with energy is clarity. So that's my 1-2 combination when I need to be energetic and focused, those two. Anyway, okay, what else have you got for us?
My other one, because I really love it and the kids really like it, is joy.
Yeah.
Because it's just a nice, happy oil and it just brings joy. So whenever I diffuse it, it makes me happy. It's one of my favourite oils. I've got bottles of it everywhere. And so I use a lot of my feelings oils all the time. So some days, depending on when it's Napland time, we'll use Brain Power or the new Genius and those just to make them think a bit. And I've even used Magnifying Your Purpose in the room, but that's only me bringing my oils in. The school hasn't bought them. So.
Well, that's fantastic. There's so many uses for these things out there, from cleaning right through to that deep emotional stuff. It's so important.
We also use the oils in the when they make Play-Doh. So they've got the oils in the Play-Doh, especially in the kindergarten classes and the MC classes for sensory. So they're not smelling a chemical-based smell, but they're smelling a nice oil that's calming and therapeutic in a way for them. We also make bath bombs with the kids and teach them how to do their own lip gloss and lots of just nice presents for their parents. So we do a lot of oils to do lots of making for presents.
Can I just say that your school is definitely not a Steiner school, it's not a Catholic school, it's not a primary school. In fact, if we looked at your school on the overall ranking of schools, it was
awesome because it's an awesome school.
I know, but I guess what I want to do is that a lot of people watching this might be thinking, oh, yes, but your school is just some, special type school, but it's not a special. It is a government state school. Okay?
In a tough area.
And it's an amazing school, and you guys are doing an amazing job. So we thank each and every one of the teachers at your school there.
And out of my staff, probably about 15 of them use essential oils too. So
because they've seen the benefit.
They've seen the benefits, exactly right. So they're all going to be watching tonight and they'll bag them tomorrow now.
That's what you have schools for. I'll give you one more. This is just a funny story. Good old Mincha. So superfood.
He can't take it anymore.
I can't go a day without. No, well, the funny thing is, we used to do the red drink. So for those people out there who don't know what the red drink is, it's like 60 mils of Mincha, add in some lime oil, so just a few drops of lime oil, and some sulfazyme, which are 3 things that I found super helpful, in terms of wellness and all that kind of stuff. But I would make it up in an old Mincha bottle, and so I'd walk in and have that under my arm. The kids loved it. So they're going, oh, Mr. T, you got your bottle of wine? But it was always a good talking point too. So staff would be asking, what is that you drink? Yeah. I'd always go, it's a vodka. No, it's...
It gets me through the day.
Absolutely.
Great source of energy. So
Sharyn, that's probably all we've got time for, but you've given us so much to think about. And
more than a top 10.
Well, and for the people who are watching right now, it's possible. It is really possible to bring essential oils and these awesome products into your school. So there's a process there, and I'm sure Sharyn would be happy to help if you are thinking about that. So maybe message us and we can kind of connect the two of you up. But what a great story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the other thing, Sharyn, for you is just credit for being a leader in your school and bringing that in, because that's just been such a blessing for the staff and for the students, and I'm guessing for the parents too in so many ways. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.